Hello, my name is Isatis de Saint-Simone, and I am going to speak again about quantum healing and hermetic wisdom. Actually, I have been practicing healing with the mind way before quantum realized or rediscovered that all there is mind, using the same principle, which was taught by the great master Hermes in Egypt at the beginning of our civilization, humankind civilization. And he was called Hermes Trismegistus, which meant 3 times great, master of all masters. All great masters traveled to Egypt to learn wisdom from Hermes. And actually, he is supposed to have instructed Abraham and many other great masters who came to Egypt to learn from him. And in Egypt, at the time, the name of God was unpronounceable when they would ask Hermes to describe God, to talk about God. He would close his eyes and put the index finger in his lips and stayed in silence. God was called in Egypt the All, and they said this is the first principle of Hermetic teachings, the principle of mentalism. The All is mind. Everything there is mind, and it is the underlying principle behind all that we call real in our sensory perception. All there is mind, unknowable, unlimited, and it is what makes everything that appears to be live. And so matter is an illusory form of mind. And the principle of healing, which actually the word therapy comes from that. In Egypt was called therapeutas. Therapeutas were those masters who healed with the mind. And from from ancient wisdom comes the mind healing that Jesus used and taught. So in our times, there is a film that I love this part of the film that many people know because it's very popular, and I mentioned before, and it's The Matrix. And in there's a key scene in that film which tells you about what I am talking about. The lead person in the film goes and enters into a room where they're bending spoons, and he is going to bend the spoon, and there is a child who tells him, don't try bending the spoon. And he says, why? And the child says, you may first want to know the truth. He says, truth? The child says, yes, there's no spoon there. It's that simple and that powerful, that truth. There's no matter. But the people say, I can touch, I can feel. This is what is real to me. Yes, you're correct. You are decoding that information, just like a computer. It is real to you. Because you decode that information. Actually, our nature as humans has been altered by these entities that are enemies of humanity and adversaries of God, because this entity wants to be God himself. And it's called in many, many beliefs, it's called Satan, Lucifer, Ahriman, the Anunnaki head demon, or call it God if you want. They're not gods, they're demons. And this entity altered human nature. If you penetrate the treatise of Genesis as Moses wrote it, not as it has been presented in the vulgar version that most people know, which is altered already too. In the original of Moses as he wrote it, which a French scholar called Favre d'Olivet wrote and studied for many years to reconstruct the Hebrew to its original purity, there's in reality two creations. One that is the creation of men as we were meant to be by Elohim, which I feel is what the Egyptians called the All, and the Muslims in their religion call Allah, Elohim, which is God the All. The oneness exists in the All. All there is mind, and mind is all there is. His supreme intelligence. This is unknowable, unpronounceable, infinite, omniscient. That's why Hermes would go like that when they ask him about the nature of God. And if we are wise, we ought to imitate that. Limited mind cannot contain the truth of that immensity. It's like if you wanted to put the ocean in a glass of water. It's impossible. Actually, Saint Augustine experienced this when he was trying to comprehend the nature of God. He was walking, thinking, meditating, wanting to know. And he saw a little child, maybe 3, 4 years old, running with a shell, running to the ocean, taking water from it and putting it in a hole. And he is kind of charmed by the little child's efforts to fill up the hole, I think. And he looks at him when he came near him, and he says, "Oh, hi, what are you doing there?" And he said, the child said to him, "I'm trying to put the ocean in that little hole." And St. Augustine said, "But you can't." And then he realized that he was in front of Jesus, that had appeared to him in a child form, because when he looked at him, he saw everything. And then the child disappeared. And he realized how silly it was for him to want to comprehend with his limited mind, relative mind, the immensity of God. And this is why the Egyptians call God the All. And the principle of mentalism, which is what quantum science has rediscovered in our modern times, and we use to heal, is current now. And thank God for quantum science that has brought ancient wisdom to a scientific status in our modern times. Because before it was, oh yes, you people of the mind, you believe in that, but in reality, no, not anymore. Quantum science has proven, also with the experiment of the observer, that we are co-creating our reality. We don't create all of the reality there is, but we are co-creating our reality with our mind. So it is very extremely important to understand that we are unlimited consciousness, that we are not the body that carries that unlimited consciousness, not that persona that has limits and yes and no's and forbidden things and limitations. This is what I help people to do in my practice for many, many years. I've been practicing for 30 years, and it's beautiful to see the people blossom into their true self and get rid of all these psychosomatic problems or character limitations. This is, I hope, an added explanation to what I explained the other day, because they said, could you expand in your explanation and tell us more about this incredible method that you use to help people? And yes, it sets people free because it puts you in touch with that unlimited being, with unlimited potentials that we truly are. So I hope that this has helped more. A principle of mentalism is coming from the ancient wisdom of the Egyptians. All the great masters traveled to Egypt and learned their knowledge and wisdom. And Hermes, the master of masters, Hermes, was the one that brought us this great truth. There is only mind, and matter is a creation of the mind, and you can change everything and anything. Life is a miracle when we recuperate our original nature. And who altered it? That's a long answer, and I will do a whole video about this because it's extremely important. And the times we live, we need information that can make us free. So for the moment, I say goodbye and have a beautiful rest of the day. If you are interested in knowing more, call the 800 number in my website. It is called quantummindhealing.com, and there is also another website, Love, Action, Transformation. Goodbye till the next time.